Joining me now is Kevin Napper. Kevin is an attorney here in Tampa Bay, and we're going to talk about the Paycheck Protection Program. You know, PPP loan fraud investigations are on the rise across the country, and we can expect the United States Department of Justice to make it an enforcement priority in the coming year. So, Kevin, my question to you is, first, let's talk about what is PPP loan fraud?
Good question. PPP loan fraud is when an individual or a business submits false information in an application or a certification for a loan under the Paycheck Protection Program. Even after a business or an individual, if it's a sole proprietorship, submits a loan, they must abide by strict requirements in how they spend the money that they receive under the program.
So what does this stem from? Where did this program begin?
This is part of the CARES Act that Congress passed last year. Businesses struggling as a result of the pandemic and made money available through the Paycheck Protection Program, or the PPP program, as it's known. So businesses large and small made applications for funds and had to fill out paperwork and provide documentation in terms of their overhead, the number of employees they have, what their monthly expenses are in terms of, leases or other operating expenses.
It's a shame there's fraud at all in a program that's designed to help people. But what is the prevalence of this fraud? Is it widespread?
The Department of Justice, the United States Department of Justice, believes that the fraud is widespread. And we're being told, those of us who do white-collar defense work, that the Department of Justice is going to be making this an enforcement priority in the coming year, in 2021. I'm aware of investigations that are ongoing in the Tampa Bay area, looking at businesses and individuals who the government suspects committed fraud in their applications.
All right, let's talk about the investigation then. What happens during a PPP loan fraud investigation?
Well, typically, in a nutshell, they're looking to see if charges can be brought. In other words, if in fact there was criminal activity. And they look at several different things when they're looking at these PPP applications. They look to see if there was a false statement, for example, in the application process, that someone on behalf of a business or on behalf of themselves made a false statement in applying for the loan. In other words, they represented their business as doing X number of dollars a year in business when in fact it didn't.
Is that opposed to like just a typo on a form? Oops, I made a mistake. This is actual fraud being committed then.
Exactly. There has to be intent. There has to be the mindset that I'm going to make a claim for these funds and obtain these funds from the government, even though I'm not entitled to these funds.
Wow.
The types of investigations we're starting to see, and I think we're going to see a lot more in the new year, include a number of schemes under the PPP loan scenario. Some are what are called loan stacking, and that is when individuals or companies make applications for PPP loans from a number of financial institutions, when they might be entitled to receive funds from one institution, but they basically duplicate the loan application process and submit it through a number of banking institutions, and that's what's called loan stacking. Another focus of the investigation is what we call false certifications. When you apply for one of these PPP loans, you have to certify that the numbers and the data that you are providing to receive the loan is accurate to the best of your knowledge. And if you certify, in other words, you sign the certification and the information is not true, and you know it's not true, that is a violation of criminal law. That is one of the types of investigations that they're looking at. The other type of investigation that we expect to see much more of is as investigators are conducting audits and looking for information on some of these PP loans. They're knocking on doors and they're asking questions of business owners. And if a business owner who has received a PPP loan is not truthful with the government agent, that is a separate crime over and above any other allegations that may be brought. Even if they are not ultimately charged with violation of the federal statutes on the underlying loan, they could still be charged with giving a false statement to a government agent.
All right, well, let's talk about charges then. What are the most serious criminal charges that can be brought against these folks?
There are several, and they're all very serious, depending on the amount of money that is alleged to have been received or alleged to have been stolen. Among them, in these types of investigations, are wire fraud under the federal wire fraud statute. That is, if someone uses the internet or interstate banking systems to obtain the funds, that could be a violation of the wire fraud statute. Bank fraud, including giving false statements or false certifications to a bank to obtain the funds pursuant to the PPP loan program, and also conspiracy to commit fraud if, say, two or more individuals who are principals of a business discuss or otherwise conspire to make an application to a bank that is fraudulent.
Kevin, how can I protect myself or my business in a fraud loan investigation?
Good question. You should be proactive. In my experience, it would help to gather all of your personal and business financial records. You'll certainly want to keep those in a digital format, if at all possible. If government agents come knocking, they are certainly going to request the supporting documentation for the loan. And to the extent you have that information, it's very important that you keep that safe and secure. And a caveat here, too, you certainly should not destroy or otherwise discard any of the documents that you used to support the application for the PPP funds. That also is a separate crime under federal law if you were to destroy the documents.
Kevin, this is very good information. We can't thank you enough. Kevin Napper in Tampa, an attorney in Tampa regarding PPP loan fraud. Thank you. Thank you so much.